Hello everyone. In this next section of the course, we will learn about a couple of new tools named Node.js and NPM. Let's not worry about the names of these tools for now, and instead let's begin with a few questions. So the first question that you might have is, are all of these tools really necessary? Why are we not writing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript yet? Why can't we just get started building the actual website? That's a fair question. I know that it's one I personally asked when I first heard about these other tools. And here is the answer. Here's why we need a few other tools. It's because while we build the site, we want automation and organization. Automation will save us time, and organization will save us from pulling our hair out. So let me elaborate on those two terms a bit. Automation just means to take a task and make it automatic, make the computer be able to do it for us. So when we are building a website, if there is a small task that we find ourselves performing again and again and again, even if it only takes a few seconds, imagine how much time we can save throughout the course of a day if we can find a way to make the computer perform that task for us automatically. Let me give you a few real-world examples. So whenever we save a change to one of our HTML, CSS, or JavaScript files, we then want to see what those changes look like in the web browser. Now, instead of hopping into your browser and hitting Control-R or Command-R or hitting the refresh button, wouldn't it be nice if your computer could detect that you had saved changes to a file and then automatically trigger a refresh in the browser for you? Your computer definitely can do that for you, and that is an example of automation. For another example of automation, we could set up something called CSS Auto Prefixer. Now, in recent years, we don't need to use CSS vendor prefixes as much as we used to. But for certain properties, they are still necessary. Now, instead of wasting the time of typing out all of these messy vendor prefix names, or even wasting the time of trying to memorize which properties need prefixes and which don't, we can set up our computer to watch for any saved changes to a CSS file, and then it will automatically trigger a filter to run on our CSS files, and the computer is intelligent enough to know which properties need to be prefixed, and it will automatically add those prefixes to our CSS. That will save us a lot of headache, that will save us a lot of time, and it's another example of automation. So that's automation in a nutshell. There are a lot of different tasks that we can automate using Node.js and NPM that will save us a ton of time on a daily basis. Next, let's talk a little bit about organization and how Node.js and NPM can help us stay organized. Let's begin with CSS organization. As we write the CSS for our website, we don't want to place all of the code within one single huge CSS file. Instead, we want to stay organized by keeping our CSS separated in multiple bite-sized files. So, for example, any CSS code related to the header of the website would go in its own file named header.css. Any styles related to the footer of the website would go in a file named footer.css. This way, if we need to revisit and update the website 6 months or even a year down the road, we will know exactly where to find that little bit of CSS that we want to update. Having said all of that, we still don't want to litter the head section of our website with calls to 40 different CSS files. Even though we, as the developer, want to work with multiple bite-sized CSS files, at the end of the day, we still want to serve the web browser and the visitors of our website one single CSS file. The good news is that we can have the best of both worlds, and this ties back into automation. We can set up our computer to watch for any saved changes to any of our multiple bite-sized CSS files, and when a save is detected, the computer will automatically, in the matter of a few milliseconds, combine all of our little CSS files into the one single file that we can serve to the browser, while still leaving all of our little CSS files intact. This way, our website will load quickly, and we as the developer can still stay organized. So that's one example of CSS organization. We will learn about many others throughout this course, but for the time being, before we bring this lesson to an end, there's one final type of project or code organization that I want to talk about, and that is package management. We will learn about package management in detail throughout the course, but for now, I want to keep things really simple. So, what is package management? Well, if you've created a website in the last few years, odds are that you used Bootstrap, or maybe Lodash, or maybe you used the popular CSS reset named normalize.css. Now, what do those three things have in common? The answer is you didn't write or create any of them. They are pieces of code or packages that someone else maintains. And you might use 5, 10, or 20 different packages on a website that you create. Now, as you're going to Google and searching for Lodash or going to Google and searching for Bootstrap to get the files to download, if you've ever thought to yourself, there's got to be a better way of doing this. There's got to be a faster, more automated way of getting access to all of these different files. Well, if you've ever thought that, you are absolutely correct. There is a better, faster way of getting all of those files, and it's called package management. We will learn all about package management in the next few lessons, but for now, this lesson has come to a close. Let's review what we've covered. We learned that when we build a website, we want automation and organization. Now that we know what's possible, now that we know that we can configure our computer to do all of these neat automatic things for us, it's just a matter of learning how to make the computer do all of that. The key to turning your computer into your own little robot assistant is learning a few tools named Node.js and NPM. In our next lesson, we will learn what in the world Node.js even is. You will get your hands dirty. I will help you install Node on your computer, and we will walk through a few code examples together, step by step. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I will see you in the next lesson.